along. But again, just going back to my original question, Kate, like kind of really stepping back and looking at this from the spiritual picture and kind of getting as deep as you want to get with it at this point to really be able to help unplug people from the matrix, so to speak. Just where would you say like this whole thing began in terms of us as consciousness choosing to come into like this physical experience, and why did we choose to come into the physical experience, if you don't feel that's too big of a question?
Oh, God, that's the easiest one to answer.
That's what I thought. Okay, go ahead.
Seriously, people get all technical. I don't deal in past or future because there is only now. Literally, allegorically, anagogically. When people start understanding that they've been trapped in a literal translation of their reality, when they start seeing the allegory of what's going on, they'll start to see all the stories connect synchronistically, and then you move from there into the anagogic, where you're actually defining your own reality. And this is the key that I'm handing back, because as soon as you get to the anagogic, you'll see how it was created literally. Yeah, that's a circle of creation. So how can you expect to change your creation if you don't even know how it works? So here, I'll give you from my perspective as it resonated and sat with me. Now, there's one thing I like to say. If I was God, and I am, what would I do? Okay, well, let's have a look at it from a video game perspective. You cannot play a game. Let's say the question, there's the one word, W-H-I-R-E-D, the first spiral, the first word, to me would be the tree of life. And that question would only be why. And here's how you separate from the conspiracy theorists living in the drama from those really seeking the truth. Those in the literal world will tell you all about how, when, what, where, and who. And they may brush on why, but they never really investigate the full why from a spiritual. If they do investigate why, it's from very literal. Oh, well, 9/11 happened because we wanted a war with Afghanistan or Iraq, and yeah, whatever. But most people don't realize that the spiritual intent of 9/11 was taking down of the 11, the twin towers, the Gemini, the spirit of the zodiac. When Saturn was in Gemini, that's when the first cornerstone went in. That's Saturn was in Gemini. When the doors opened, Saturn was in Gemini, and when the buildings came down, Saturn was briefly in Gemini, all at the same time. So that ethereal from a dark principality is actually a light principality. That's what the Illuminati are. See, light came after God. In the beginning, God created light and saw that it was good. So, that makes God dark. That makes God void. That's the divine feminine magnetic is, the isness, the is. See, the physical is the Isis. The spiritual is the is, as Bill Clinton so aptly said. Well, that depends on what your definition of is. So that to me was an allegorical clue, and I look at everything from the allegory, anagogic. So for me, at the beginning, I would ask the question, why? One, I'm bored. No one to play with. Two, I'm lonely. So what am I going to do? Well, in order to occupy my consciousness, well, why not just spend a little bit of infinity now, because there only is now, and create one monster of a game grid from that word. And then tell that same story in infinite different ways with infinite different characters from infinite different perspectives, all telling the same thing. And they do. I mean, Ophiuchus and the 12 zodiacs, Jesus and the 12 disciplines, Muhammad and the 12 disciples, I think you call them, disciplines. What else we got? Joseph and his 12 brothers. The 12. You've got, in order to become the God self again, you have to become the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, that's is a divine feminine. That's the magnetic creation void from which all came from, the dark. To the Ra, which is the light of God that is emitted. If you want to see that in the alphabet, look at the letter Q. You'll see the egg with the sperm attached to it. That's why the queen, or the queen bee, bee is 13th warrior, Jesus. That's a claim of being that character. Now remember this. This is a spiritual game. And it's just a game. And everyone's taking it too seriously. They're missing the point. But that was the point, so that we would have this whole sense of not God by actually having fear. Now, an infinite immortal God, what does an infinite immortal God you have to fear? Nothing. And that's exactly what we did fear, the nothing, because that's what we created from. So for me, it's a very simple game, and it always comes back down to the Occam's razor, and everyone likes to complicate it. So let me give you the allegory of Atlantis and Lemuria. Atlantis is the left brain, Lemuria was the right. Atlantis is the analytical, technological, gotta be in the physical, meat stick literature, literal, whereas Lemurians were the spiritual, the divine feminine aspect of nurturing, and these were just allegories. Now, I don't know about you, but as far as I'm aware, in this consciousness, because I came in at 0 point again, that's called conception, con, with, sept, 7, French, set, ion, which is the with God ion. That's what conception is. Okay? And that's God, you, in a complete state of unknowing. You've been wiped clean. When you pop out of Mama, as soon as you get out, what you've got everyone standing there with your canvas, and they start painting on it with their own crayons. Okay, well, you're Jewish, you're Muslim, or you're Christian, or you're Hindu, you're black, you're white, you're green, you're orange, you're male, you're female, you're tranny, whatever the case may be. And the next thing you know is before you even have a chance to say your first words to communicate exactly what you think, your canvas is already painted for you. You're believing in this. You're going to this school. You're this nationality. Look at all the divide and conquers of you. That singular point of consciousness has had to endure because somebody else told you. But that's how this game works. The game here is to be in a condition of not know, come out, and get all sense of confusion thrown at you to see if you can figure your way back out. That's what this game is. Can you get out of the trap? Can you get out of your own duping?
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, when I was kind of going through my process of just intuitively getting things, quote unquote, getting stuff, one of the things that I got was kind of just summarizing what you said, is that, like, you know, people sort of say this idea that, like, we are gods with amnesia sort of thing, but sort of realizing the reasoning behind that is a way I explain it is that, like, we as God, like, intentionally put ourselves in this prison with the intention to forget who we are, merely so that we could go through these unique experiences of remembering who we are. And I use the term prison sort of loosely. Prison can be sort of a, you know, allegorical for Matrix as well. Matrix just being a field, a game board in which, like,